Welcome to the Compass Method, powered by Purpose and Plants, where science meets soul and thriving begins when you find your true north. Hosted by Dr. Yolanda Rivera-Caudill, a double-board certified physician, mother of three, and founder of the Tiny Beat Lifestyle Medicine and Pediatric Clinic, and
Chelsea Dye, a certified lifestyle medicine coach, wellness strategist, and creator of Alchemist Untamed. This show brings the real science to real life, powered by our passion project, Purpose and Plants.
Each episode explores how small shifts in food, movement, mindset, and family life can create massive results. Together, Dr. Yolanda and I share a compass for better life, a grounded guide to plant-forward health, brain-body balance, and modern motherhood.
From pediatric wellness and family health to neuroscience, nutrition, and mindset mastery, we will help you pause with a purpose, align your habits with your values, and rediscover what it means to thrive.
Powered by Purpose and Plants, because thriving begins when you're powered by Purpose and Plants. Hello, welcome to the Compass Method podcast. I'm Chelsea Dye, wellness strategist, lifestyle medicine coach, and co-founder of Purpose and Plants. And this is
Dr. Yolanda Rivera-Caudill, pediatrician and lifestyle medicine physician.
And we are here to bring you part 2 of Holiday Health. We are in the thick of the holidays. And if you had a chance to listen to part 1, you got to explore a little bit about the how and the why the holidays can be joyful, but also very stressful. And today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what you can do to thrive during the holidays and keep your health on track. But before we dive in, we'd love to take a moment just to take a deep breath together and ground down. So breathe in and then exhale for a count of 5.
That helps us too.
Yes. So it's not only for you, the audience, but hopefully you actually did do that. It's for us as well. And if you like those breath works, check out on our website that we have a free download that has more breath works. But without further ado, let's dive in. Yes. So Yolanda, tell us a little bit about what we talked about in the previous episode, and then we're going to dive deeper into something that's so important, the gut.
Well, you know, with holidays, with family and deadlines and all these things that you want to have it all, it can be very stressful. It can be their nervous system gets a little bit hijacked.
Yes.
And
and
we
especially
need some help.
Yes, and especially Dr. Yolanda right now is in an exciting time of her life, but also pretty stressful. Her daughter is getting married. Her youngest daughter is getting married before Christmas, and so she, of anyone, knows how this time can be both joyful and challenging. So really what we want to help you navigate is through the Compass Method, finding your true north, is really to look at the biggest challenges. So the gut and your gut health is not only is your nervous system sort of hijacked with all the intensity of everything happening, your gut is the first thing that typically responds, and it takes only 24 hours to shift something happening in your gut on a negative or a positive front.
I was going to say either direction.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that we kind of forget, that that is a quick thing, that the food we put in our mouth and the stress that we endure both impact our gut, and we can make a really positive or perhaps less positive shift with our gut in the choices that we make.
So that's why we want to be very intentional. You want to think that it is in your power to do, because sometimes we get so hung up in the day by day that you'd realize that, there are things that you can do. And I always like to go back to the pillars of lifestyle medicine. Have you trying to incorporate your sleep, for example? Are you trying to try to at least to keep it as constant as possible? And when you're traveling, like what you're eating, try to bring from home some of the things that you're used to eat. Like, for example, it's good to have snacks like nuts and stuff like that are healthy fats and easy to carry and things like this.
Yeah, and episode 1 we talked about staying with your morning routine and trying to incorporate that. But one element, one layer sort of deeper is the science that you may not actually know is that over 70% of your immune system lies in your gut. And so often we will be traveling, just as you said. Not only will we feel GI unrest, we'll also start to get under the weather. And so we have to remember that the most important thing we can do is, just as you said, Dr. Yolanda, that sleep is super important. Sticking with our routine is important. Really being smart about how we're nourishing our body is really important.
Hydrating.
Yep, and hydrating. So easier said than done,
Yes.
Theoretically. But let's talk about some really specific things that we can do for our gut during the holidays that will give us a leg up and not get sick and maintain. And also, one thing we probably should note is over 90% of the serotonin is made in your gut as well. So if you think about that, not only is your immune system, your happiness is tied to the health of your gut. Yep. So tell us some of your favorite tips, and let's talk about sugar maybe first.
Sugar.
And how it impacts your brain, but also your gut, and what we can do.
Okay, coming from somebody that loves sugar, I have a sugar tooth, like my grandfather did, and he lived to 104. So there's nothing wrong with sugar. It's just that when usually a lot of things that we eat, especially in the holidays, that have refined carbohydrates, like all these sugary things with added sugar, is what is the killer of our gut, or our system. It disrupts your hormones, disrupts your sleep, it disrupts the gut lining and all that. So it's not about not having the sugar, it's about what is coming with it. And go ahead.
Well, and let's take it 2 steps back. So, let's just talk about sugar in general. I think the thing that people don't really even think about is it's a compounded effect. So Yolanda and I, which brings a little bit of extra flavor to our partnership and our education that we offer, is that I actually have a no processed sugar house, and I'm pretty strict on it because I'm neurodivergent. And even during the holidays, I personally don't bend because I know of the impact it has on my brain and my gut. And I personally am not willing to, but I do believe that there's a place for being able to indulge, quote unquote, indulge. That said, I think that there are a lot of people walking around that, because they're not connected to, first of all, they're not grounded, just as we did in the beginning. They're not grounded. They're not paying attention to what they're putting in their mouths. And oftentimes, if it's processed, they don't really know what's in it.
I experienced that. I mean, I remember that I was not so aware of that connection. And that was not long ago. That was just when I started learning more about lifestyle medicine. And I remember people say, "Oh, I know that this affects my brain," or I was like, how did they know that? I mean, how did they make that connection? Because I not understood how it was. So when I started paying more attention to that, I realized, well, yes, my sleep that I thought that 4 hours or 6 hours could do, no. What I ate, it does affect a great deal. So just paying attention, again, pausing and paying attention to what is coming into our body or the systems, the environmental things that affect us, it can pay, our body might be very appreciative of what you do or what you don't.
And to take it even more to a simplistic level, I think looking at when you're grocery shopping, even during the holidays, if you want to, if you're making your own baked goods, that's fantastic. There's lots of ways to assess how much sugar you actually need in your own baked goods. But if you're buying things, just turn around the label and take a look. How much sugar does it have? How much processed sugar? And then how many other additives? And those are the things that can really impact our gut.
And I'm sorry, and you mentioned something that for you noticed the big difference. For me, I just noticed that it's not good, but it's not so critical. I can have a bite of these and bite of that and not be, so learning what works for you and what doesn't is what is important,
Yeah.
So learning how it affects you and learning to read the labels and learning the alternatives, because there's so many alternatives that are very delicious and and there's even healthier for you.
Well, and I think when we're looking at sugar, so having a piece of cake or a piece of holiday pie before the rest of or first thing in the morning. I know that there are some people that like sweets in the morning. Yeah. I love raw cacao, but I also know and some sweet-ish foods, but my palate has changed. However, if you think about the order in which you consume sugar and really all things that are considered to be had in very small moderation, it's really important to eat your meal first. Get your fiber. Get your healthy
I was going to say the
fats.
fiber. Remember to have your fiber. That's important. And another thing, alcohol. Alcohol is something. Alcohol, people think, oh, it makes me relax. It makes me feel better. But the truth is that it's a depressive drug. So it affects your gut and it affects your sleep. So it disrupts a lot of the things in your system. So learn how to not to have it right before you go to sleep. Learn how to see how you can do with less. And again, try to see other alternatives.
Well, and I think going back to the sugar and the alcohol, if we think about during the holiday season, since this is about holidays, so often people are consuming sugary beverages, whether they're alcohol or just beverages in general. And that's another way that the sneakiness of sugar and processed things can find their way in your diet without even realizing. And sodas, I really think that everyone should try a week without soda and see how it impacts their life and body. But beyond that, go ahead.
And I'm thinking when you were talking about the drinks and beverages, there's some beverages that have caffeine and alcohol and a lot of sugar. So, and people keep drinking it because they're used to it or whatnot. So stop to look at the ingredients and stop to see what happens if you diminish, do less of that, or don't do them at all and see what happens. Because that combination of alcohol and caffeine and sugar, it is very dangerous.
It is very dangerous. Well, and if we're going to connect this to the gut, the alcohol is it really hurts our gut lining, just as sugar does. And then, so those two are really hurting that really thin, one cell layer thin lining between your gut and the rest. And that means that permeability can occur, which means that things that are going into your gut are ending up in other parts of your system, which creates inflammation. So if we think about it from that standpoint, not to overwhelm you, but at the same time, I think awareness is the very first thing that we need to think about. So let's think about how you would stack a meal in order to make sure that you're, even if you're having your treat, you are getting the base level nourishment, especially in the holidays. Let's think about like a typical holiday meal and how we might fill our plate in order to make sure we can still have the sweet treat if you so choose, but we're reinforcing the positivity in our body.
Every day, but especially the holidays, you want to have colors in your plate. And you want to have fiber, of course. And it's not that you're not going to have your piece of turkey or pork, as is in Puerto Rico. That pork is king in Christmas. But it's just to add the variety of other things first, because then you are able to absorb better. Like, you don't want to have, for example, alcohol in your empty stomach. That most people know that. I know that firsthand, even if didn't do it on purpose. But so adding the fruits, adding the fiber first, fiber foods, and the more color, the better.
And just as we said, considering the fiber and the way the diversity of the plate is so important. And the 30 plants a week, even if you're not plant forward, as we've shared, Dr. Yolanda and I both are plant based, but you can be plant forward without being plant based. And just to give you, I think that there's this extremist mentality that, you have to be completely vegan to be healthy, or some people say, the opposite. There's many different dietary patterns and routines. But I think the foundation for most of them that are accepted in the medical community for being healthy are the ones that are fueled with fiber and diversity. So 30 plants a week, according to Dr. B, whom we both love, that is crucial and essential for our gut health, for our mental health.
And it's not that hard to do. And if you count, I mean, sometimes I like to introduce that in the families because it's even fun for the kids to see, okay, let's see how many different plants you had this week. And again, the goal would be like 30. And, when I tell them that, they're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of plants. And when I start, okay, let's see what we had. Let's see what you had yesterday and today. And I go over that. And they're surprised. Yeah. Oh, that's not too hard. We just had to add a few more. And it is very doable. And it, as a family, it might be something that you want to introduce. Let's see.
Yeah.
The time that we're together, let's see if we can count that.
Well, and then during this holiday season, I think we all have certain sort of traditional foods, treats that we like to incorporate or bring in or make together as a family, which is really great from a community standpoint. But I even we challenge you to consider, can you add applesauce instead of extra oil in your baked goods? Can you add pumpkin puree into some of your baked goods? Can you add some extra beans in your sauce? That adds diversity. Well, it might slightly change the flavor. There are certain things that don't change the flavor hugely. And this holiday time, which is very much about cooking and doing for many cultures specifically, maybe this is an opportunity to incorporate more diversity.
Yeah, and try and do it and as an experiment. I like to do that. And not only that, involve the kids to do that experiment. That includes the connection with the kids. It makes it fun. It's an activity that can do it as a family, teaching them. And you can do, like changing the recipe, like dates, for example, instead of sugar. There's many, many substitutions that we have in our website that people can check.
Yeah, on purposeandplants.com.
Yes. And there's, again, like the idea is to make it fun and to have it maybe it's a new tradition.
Well, and so, we have a Master the Market class, master class, which we go over all the details of how to read a label. But I have to say that there are some takeaways that for me, that as I made a transition many years ago and gave up sugar, processed sugar, I found some really creative ways, which I think are so fun to be able to add sweetness. So one thing that I do, and I'd love to hear yours too, but one thing that I do is I take dates, put them in warm water, allow them to sit in the fridge for disintegrate for a couple of days, and then you get sort of a syrup, and you can add that to coffee, to baked goods, to sweet treats. You can still take away the dates and use those independently. They obviously have a different consistency, but then you have sort of a liquid concentrate, and there are so many amazing nutrients, magnesium, I think manganese, all sorts of other
the fiber,
and the fiber in dates. So those are fantastic.
Dates are fantastic. Well, I love them for so many reasons. They're so versatile in how many ways you can do. You can make candies out of. I like to do. My daughter told me that, Mom, look, we can do like this candy. I'm not going to say any brands in particular, but you open the date and you put a nut, walnut, for example. You can put a little bit of nut butter, peanut butter or almond butter, and then once you close them back and you put that in melted chocolate, let them in the fridge, they are such a delicious treat.
Yeah.
And then again, there's things that you can do with the kids. That has a lot of nutrients right in there, and is an alternative.
Well, and so, what other things when it comes to tips that you would like to share with people about mealtime, but just in general about the holidays that can make your life healthier and happier?
Talking about newer habits or newer things that you can start learning as traditions with your family, like walking after the meals. That is such a big thing especially for families that are dealing with diabetes or pre-diabetic issues, because think about it. When you walk, you need to use your legs. And when you use your legs, your body needs to supply fuel to those legs. And instead of keeping it in your blood system, it goes to power your legs. So it can be a fun way to be with the family, and it's a good way for your body to start metabolizing this sugar. And, again, it can help digest that meal a little bit better. So it could be in a tradition, for example.
And I heard something really interesting for people that are less mobile, because I know that not everyone, I feel so privileged that I can be out there and walking and running, and I know you feel the same way, but there are plenty of people that don't have that mobility, or they're maybe just starting, even just something as simple as calf raises. So that calf raises seems like such a silly little thing, but if you're sitting in the kitchen and doing dishes and doing calf raises and small lunges and
Calf raises?
So like going on your tiptoes.
Oh, calf. I see.
Calf raises. Yeah, going on your tiptoes.
Oh, yes.
And then that draws the glucose down to the muscles in your calves and your ankles. Not only are you strengthening your calves, and working on your balance, because when you do that, you have to work on your balance.
That helps for falls.
Yeah, exactly. So those are small little things that you can do. And you, I know, do squats when you're brushing your teeth.
Yes.
And
I like dancing when I'm cooking.
Yeah. And so those are all small little things that we can incorporate in the holidays. And this time, where it can be so filled with busyness, I think this is an opportunity, especially we're on the edge of 2026 of a new year. And so this is a way that we can, in those quiet moments, or the moments that are even vibrant with family, that we can reshape our patterns to be more healthful.
And then, I always talk about kids, of course. I'm a pediatrician, but I love for kids to be surrounded with grandparents. And you can include the grandparents in all these things as well. And even if it's a very cold day and everybody's sitting watching TV, try to do either games, or even they're watching TV at the time of the advertisements. Try to stand up, sit up, even something like that is helpful for the grandparents too. And it might make it, again, it's all about making it fun.
Yeah. So going back to like the holiday parties, there's abundance of holiday parties. I've got some tips that I think are really helpful, that are really great for your brain, really great for your gut. And, for someone like me who's an introvert, believe it or not, sometimes it's really hard.
It's hard to believe.
I know, but I'm a serious introvert. And it's hard for me to get out and go to those holiday activities sometimes. I get, especially being neurodivergent, I get really overwhelmed. But if I exercise before I go and, plan to have something really nourishing before I actually go to the event. So, because inevitably there's lots of little snacky things around, and some of them are healthy and some of them are not. And sometimes when you move out of your own house or into a party atmosphere, you don't have as many choices. And then if you're hungry, you reach for the things that are in front of you and may not be the things that really fuel you.
Yeah. Another thing that I've seen people doing is also bring your own food. Of course, to share, not just your plate.
Yeah.
But it sometimes helps when you feel like, oh, they're not going to have something that I'm used to eat, or they're going to have, I don't know, the sweet potatoes that I don't like. Make them at home, and maybe people will love it. And then again, it's a new tradition. Oh, I like the one that she's making.
Yeah.
I want to do that one instead.
Well,
and that type of thing.
And as you transitioned from plant forward to plant based, how did you find a way to, because obviously not your whole extended family eats the same way, how did you find a way to make them open to it and make it exciting and still feel like you could socialize? Because you, on the other hand, are very social and very extroverted and love being out there.
I love to be with family too.
Yeah.
And my family doesn't eat the way I eat. So that's part of what I do. I realized, for example, in Thanksgiving, most of the things that I still eat, they're the side dishes. So the side dishes are green beans, and sometimes they're laden with things that I don't eat. But if you can make them your way, your family probably will like them, most likely, because they're, depending, and you play and, okay, they don't like this ingredient, and you just play with it. And again, I eat a lot of food. I have a lot of options. It's just a matter of thinking outside of the box. Okay, what is it about this that I can have, my family can have, and share with them, and Some might like it and some might like it the other way, but that's fine. That's part of the process.
Yeah, and exposing people, I think part of the privilege, I'm a plant-based chef, and I think part of the privilege of having that education and that knowledge is that I can bring things that people are so surprised by that it's plant-based. Like, in fact, tonight I'm hosting something for a mahjong group, and everything's plant-based, and it's gluten-free, and it has no sugar. I'm not telling anyone until we're done, but and I think that people are going to be delighted that it's not deprivation, it's not spa cuisine.
No,
it's
the
at
simple
all.
things,
Yeah.
simple ingredients. And it's funny because I've done that, and my family's like, so you mean that this is healthy? So you mean that this is good for you?
Yeah.
And this still tastes good? I said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not depriving myself of taste or, different things. It's just a different way of doing it.
Exactly. And then adding more diversity as well. So let's talk a little bit more about the lifestyle habits that are beyond food and some of the things that we can do in the morning and the evening to really set ourselves up for success when it comes to this busy holiday season.
Especially like in the holidays, that you probably went to sleep late, much later than your body's used to. One of the things that I advise everybody, as long as you put in your body at least 6 hours, try to wake up earlier rather than oversleep, because that's going to help you reset your clock much easier. If you wake up no more than 6 hours, like in the morning, and as soon as you wake up, open the windows, try to even have your coffee outside to have that sunlight getting into your eyes. That's going to help reset your circadian rhythm, your clock, to be able to have a better night the next time. That's one thing that I always like. I try to drag myself out of my bed, like even though it was a fun night last night sharing with family, but I need to think about what is going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
So I wake up, try to wake up earlier.
What is helpful to me is to put something really cheery on my alarm. So I put music that's like very motivating on my alarm clock, and that will get me. And I keep my phone, which functions as my alarm, in the bathroom. So I have to get up, get out of bed, and listen to something really kind of vibrant, and then that's a nice way to kickstart it. And then another thing that, just as you said, we touched on earlier, is the hydration component. We cannot underscore how important it is to be hydrated. And that doesn't mean that you're drinking electrolyte beverages all day long. That's just like water.
Talking about water.
Yeah. And, so water first thing in the morning before you have your coffee is so important.
That's
before
another
you eat.
that's another habit that I had no idea that is so helpful. If you think you have been hopefully 7 to 8 hours that your body's been with nothing, and your body craves water. Hydration is one of the first things that your body will need. And you will be surprised. And people that have constipation, they say that is the best thing they can do.
Well, even so for me, room temperature water, not cold, because the cold water can be a shock to your system. And so room temperature water, or even slightly warm water with lemon in it, really gets your digestive system flowing. So if you have challenges with your GI system, just something as simple as that before you caffeinate.
Just water.
Is so great. Plus bouncing, jumping. I think that I've shared this before, but Yolanda, we know that our lymphatic system is very important for our immune function. And when we move up and down, whether we're running, walking, or even jumping, we can get our lymphatic system going. And when you do that first thing in the morning, whether it's in the holidays or not, it can really help to energize you and then also get your system flowing. So that's another really important thing.
And I bet that kids will love that. If you have younger ones and they're, okay, look, we're going to start the day with jumping, and that sets the mood.
Yes. So what about nighttime then? What are some things that I can share what I think is really important, but I'd love to know what you've seen be so successful with patients and in general, when they comply.
Well, when people learn how, I think the biggest killer, one of the biggest things is the phone, to stay away from. It's very hard, and I personally vouch for that, especially because I like to be in contact with my patients. it's sometimes it's hard to comply with that, but trying to start resetting your clock like after this. And now I'm talking about adults. For kids, for example, TV, electronics, any tablet, that should be off their kids' room. That's a big, big important rule that I would tell everybody. I mean, adults is one thing. Kids, that's a very important thing for, hopefully the elementary school kids, but adolescents, that's a big deal. It interferes with the quality of their sleep so much.
Absolutely. And I think as adults, it's our opportunity to model. So I don't have a TV in my room. And, the joke is I don't really watch TV. That's not true. I mean, I watch a little bit and I certainly watch WSAB. But I really learned just through my personal habits that TV takes away my peace and also takes away my quality sleep. And so because it's a little, for people that enjoy TV, sometimes they fall asleep to it. And that interrupts your sleep cycle so dramatically, whether you're an adult or a kid. So from a kid's standpoint.
And some people do it because they feel that it helps them sleep. But what they don't know, it's like alcohol. They say, it helped me sleep. Well, but the quality of sleep is not good. And that's the trade-off. You don't know what you don't know. This sleep is not the sleep that you need. And I never had, we had a TV, we still have a TV in our bedroom that was never on. But my kids, they never had a TV in their bedroom growing up. And as adults, they don't have it. Yeah. They learn that it's not needed. And I think it's so important that they're adults and they're like, you don't need a TV in my bedroom. So it's, again, modeling and leading by example is the best way. But as for adults, learning how to detox from that technology is a big thing. But for kids, is even more important for brain development and depression, anxiety. I mean, we can talk an hour about that.
Well, and we will have another podcast on that specifically, probably part 1, 2, and 3, because that is a topic that we need to delve into. I think during the holidays, because there is more opportunity to have some breaks, some time off, and we're on the edge, just as we said, of a new year, creating new patterns around the sleep and wake time this is an important time to do it. And you can even, journaling is a big thing in our house. Yeah. And journaling and having a wind down routine, that's fun. That if you're in a family, having everyone kind of participate in the sense that they choose what they want their wind down routine to be within parameters is really an important thing.
Writing 3 wins or 3 blessings that day.
Exactly.
That's a big one.
3 blessings, 3 wins in the beginning and the end of the day. So, I think we're getting close to closing out this holiday episode part 2. Before we do a recap, what other thoughts do you have about the holidays?
I think it's important to pay attention to what your nervous system is telling you, your feelings are telling you. Am I feeling, pay attention. Like our feelings are like GPS. Just listen to them. You know how thing about gut feeling is real. And it's because there is a connection between, and we didn't talk about that, the brain and the gut, they're very well related. So pay attention to what your body's trying to tell you and see why. Am I feeling very comfortable with this person, but not with this other person? There might be a reason why that. Just try to think and explore that, and you might learn something very beneficial for you.
Yes. And then my biggest takeaway and my purpose for this holiday season is to really incorporate more of the pause in the moments that I share with my friends, my family, with the people that I care about. But then in addition, just taking a moment, no is an okay answer, and figuring out when to incorporate the pause and making sure that it's in your routine every single day. So we went over today how to improve your gut health, even during the holidays, how to find healthier, happier ways to incorporate sugar or stack your meals in order to make your sugar intake have less of a dramatic negative impact on your body, how to recreate sleep cycles, morning and evening, how to move better for yourself now and into 2026. And I think we would love to have your Spanish recap.
Yes, vamos a hablar en español ahora. Para aquellos amigos que todavía no manejan muy bien el inglés, todavía, porque yo sé que eso va a ser pronto. Pues básicamente hablamos de las fiestas, las Navidades, Thanksgiving, en Puerto Rico hasta los Reyes, y las cosas que podemos hacer para que el impacto no sea tan dramático. Las comidas, por ejemplo, podemos buscar alternativas que tengan azúcar y pueden ser dulces y todavía ser nutritivas, las dos cosas. Para dormir, las cosas que podemos hacer. Si se acuestan tarde, traten de levantarse no muy tarde para que esa noche, la próxima, sea mejor. Y estar en movimiento, por ejemplo, después de la comida, es algo que pueden hacer. Las notas las van a ver al final del video y las pueden traducir y pueden quizás entender todo lo que hablamos ahora. Así que espero que puedan aprender algo ya sea en español o sea en las notas de inglés.
Well, that was beautiful. I'm not sure what she said, but I know it was a beautiful recap. So you have just joined us for part 2 of Health in the Holidays, and we are so delighted to have you. And we are Chelsea Dye and
Dr. Yolanda Rivera-Caudill.
And this is the Compass Method. So please join us every week for healthy tips, tricks, and tips on how to live a healthier, happier life. And check out our website at purposeandplants.com. And in the new year, on the 13th of January, we're starting our new Academy Masterclass. Use your HSA and FSA funds before the end of the year to join our 2026 amazing community and academy.
Yes.
Can't wait to see you there.
See you on the other end.